Hi, I'm Debbie,
And I'm Jan,
and this is the Villages 365.
and we are going to do a video on bizarre sightings and things that are bizarre in the villages.
Yeah, things we've seen, things that are kind of cool to see. And before we start, though, we did want to say thanks so much to all the people that have been watching our videos and liking and subscribing. We really do appreciate you all. And we hope that we're putting out some things that you guys would like to see. If there are topics you would like covered, please do put them in the comments. We do read them all, and we do try to do things that you want to see. This is the reason we're doing it. So, but thank you.
All right, the first one is I've seen a couple times little girls driving carts, like little girls. And there was one day we were following a cart that was going super slow down the street, and I'm like, oh, well, they must be new and sightseeing, and it had the four-seater, three people in the back, two in the front. And as we pulled into a parking lot, I looked over, and it was a small child driving the cart, thus going slow. And I'm just like, ooh, you need to be 14. Do I say anything? But then luckily there was some cranky lady that yelled at him and told him that was a no-no and they're going to get a ticket. But it's yeah, it's very tempting, Grandma and Grandpa, to let them drive.
Yeah, but you got to be careful.
Yeah,
careful with that. So maybe up and down your own little cul-de-sac or something.
So it was pretty bizarre, especially with all the people in the cart.
Yeah. One of the most bizarre things I've seen is the rocket launches here. So that's pretty cool, actually. It's fun. I can see them from my backyard. We stand outside. We can see the launch. And it's pretty cool, especially at night because it lights up and all of that. So
early in the morning, yeah.
Or early in the morning, yeah. It's amazing. And even during the day, though, you can see it and you can see the stream and everything. So that's a pretty cool, unique thing. Obviously, it's not just in the villages that's being able to see it, but we can see it in the villages, and I couldn't see it where I used to live.
You don't have to drive over there.
No, yeah, it's nice. So that's kind of a interesting, bizarre thing.
Another bizarre thing, and this just happened the other day. We were coming back from Lopez, and there were two carts stuck together, and I assumed that the back cart ran into the first cart, but what happened was the one cart must have stopped kind of in the road and backed up and didn't look to see that there was another cart, and it had the back seat with the metal, you know, for clubs, and somehow it hooked together. And our neighbor was in front of us, and they're trying to get apart, and he's pushing, and the front of that Yamaha was pretty crunched.
Oops.
Pretty bizarre.
Yeah, a lot of our odd things revolve obviously around golf carts because those are some unique things to the villages. That most places don't have as many carts and stuff as we do here. So, and that leads me to one of mine, which is, we did not see this, but we read about it in the paper, but it's worth a mention. There was a lady that apparently had had a cocktail or two and accidentally got on the turnpike with her golf cart. She left Brownwood and somehow got to the turnpike, which still has to be a good, 5 miles or something. So in her golf cart, got on the turnpike. So she actually got on a ramp. Sorry, the sun's coming up and we just thought it'd be a good time of day. So you're going to see all sorts of shadows. We're going to be moving. But it was amazing that she got on the on-ramp, got all the way down the road. Now, luckily, a truck on the highway was kind of like, what is that? And so he pulled up behind her to protect her because that'd be a good way to get pancaked.
Oh, man. Especially with those semis going by. I'm surprised it didn't blow her out of the cart.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, just even the wind. So anyway, that was
That's very bizarre. She got in a little bit of trouble.
She did. But so.
Don't drive your cart on the turnpike.
Note to self.
Let's see. Along with the golf cart, we might as well just stay with a little bit of theme here. There's a tunnel over by here that goes under Buena Vista to the polo fields. And there was a cart that came around too fast, kind of in the other guy's side. And the other guy was in a park car, which are very tall. And so he kind of swerved over to avoid getting hit. And that cart just lodged itself and stuck right in the tunnel. And I had to show that picture to my husband. I said, look, that park car, look how well it stood up to being crunched into the tunnel. No one was hurt, but that's bizarre how fast people drive through those tunnels.
Well, and in the older section, the further north you go, people didn't used to lift like the golf carts weren't as modified, I guess
No,
would
they
be
were
a
all
good word.
Yamahas, basically.
And so, well, and they weren't as modified. So now people want them lifted and they want this and that. And so
Jacked up.
the thing is that the tunnels up north are a little bit, I feel like, shorter and a little more compact. So just be aware of that.
They got smarter down south. They started making them wider,
giving people
taller.
A little bit more room.
Yeah, you could probably drive a car there, but don't.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been attempted though. One of mine is the storms here are very severe, and we were golfing and a thunderstorm kicked up. We were out on Palmer and a thunderstorm kicked up, and when we start seeing lightning that severe and we're out there, we just head for a bathroom because they're at least brick solid buildings. I think all of them are, if I remember.
Yes,
but anyway, so we headed into the building and we were waiting and waiting and waiting for that storm to pass. And so I'm going to show you a picture of Jan drinking a beer on the toilet.
No, I wasn't going on the toilet. I was just sitting on the toilet.
But, well, maybe.
But it was we were there a long time.
We were there a long time.
It was a bad storm. And
then it was crazy afterward. We were going to try, the reason we stayed out there is we were going to try and continue to golf after the storm passed. It looked on the map. That's the thing down here. Sometimes it looks like it's going to hit you and it never does. And other times it looks like it's going to pass and it never does. And so we sat there for a good long time. And then finally we're like, okay, so we went out, we hit like one ball and then we watched ducks swim right past us on the fairway. And we were like, maybe we're done.
Yeah. I think Leo bailed first because his ball went into the water that ducks were swimming. And then Mark and I tried to finish, and by the time we made the curve around, I mean, it was just water everywhere. So, and that was one of our more bizarre golf stories.
Yeah, and the storms here they're intense.
Yes, they are. And the lightning, and we have the lightning app.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, oh, I think it might lightning over there, and you look it up, and there's red dots
everywhere,
filled.
Yeah, where
there are lightning strikes everywhere. Let's see. A lot of mine also are things that I see out the back door. And one of them was I saw somebody golfing, and I looked. He was on the putting green, and he didn't have a shirt on. And I'm like, well, that's bizarre.
Was he young and sexy? Was it Mark? Who was it?
Well, I took a video because I wanted to tell my husband that, hey, this guy's out there. But I think he was visiting a house back there, so he would run and putt while people weren't coming down the fairway, which is a no-no.
I was going to say, is that proper golf attire? No shirt?
No, but that's probably, if he had his shirt on, I would have paid, wouldn't have paid
noticed.
it in. Yeah, I wouldn't have said, does he have a cart? But with no shirt on, it definitely caught my attention. But that was very bizarre.
One of mine was, speaking of golf carts, down at Sarasota, and this was about 7 years ago, but I've read about it happening still recently. There's been a couple episodes.
Yeah, there's a couple of them recently.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was out there golfing, and we were waiting to tee off because down by this pond, there was this guy, and he had no shirt on, and he was swimming, and there was a kid, and I'm like, why are these people swimming in this pond? This is crazy. You're in the middle of a golf course. Like, where are the ambassadors? Why is this not going on? And so we couldn't figure out. Finally, we're like, well, we're just going to tee off. I mean, this is crazy. We can't wait for them to finish swimming. So we go ahead, we tee off, we get down there. By the time we get down there, now there's like the cart fixer, a cart guy.
Cart aid.
Yeah, cart aid. And they have this big chain thing. And the guy in the water was finding the golf cart. So then he went out, got the chain.
So brave.
Dove in. And the thing that kills me still, I get the chills because there's gators and snakes in a lot of the ponds. The guy had just shorts on, no shirt, no eye protection, nothing. And he's diving into that water. And anyway, he hooked that cart onto the metal chain, and they yanked it right out, and that poor golfer was sitting there, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I don't know, I might have left mine at the bottom of the pond and just told the insurance company I didn't know what happened to it.
Someone stole it.
I have no idea. But the poor guy, and then afterward, because everybody now knows, what happened, and they were like, well, his cell phone, his car keys, his home, his house keys, his wallet, like his whole life was, which would be for most of us too. So I guess we would have to bail it out of the water. But anyway, that's an interesting sight. So note to self, there are hills on some of these golf courses. So make sure you set your brake when you get out of the
double
cart.
check. I always kind of double check.
Yeah. Especially on the hills. I mean, even on the semi hills, they'll still roll a little bit. So anyway,
That's pretty
that
funny.
was interesting.
Oh, another thing behind my house one day, well, actually, it's been quite a bit. You look out and there's a guy kind of scouting out some trees, and there's a walking path, cart path that runs along the golf course. So there's a lot of traffic. Houses are fairly close on that side. And he walks up to the tree, and I'm like, no, he's not. It's broad daylight. And then he does the man stand and waters the tree. And I tell you what, that tree gets watered more than you think. And during the drought now, that tree looks really good.
It's the healthiest one on the
Yeah,
course.
it's the healthiest one on the course. You can tell it's the pea tree.
The pea tree.
And that's all I want to say about that. It's bizarre.
Yeah. I would at least try to find a tree that's not so open.
Well,
if I
know,
felt the need
or
to water
a
it.
bush
A
that you
bush.
can kind of stand in.
Yeah.
And don't do the man stand. I know what you're doing.
Everybody knows. Another thing that we saw, and this is when Leo and I were driving. So down Morse, when you're heading from like between 466 and Sumter Landing, there's a very narrow bridge, not for the automobiles, but for the golf carts. It's a very, very narrow bridge. And honestly, and again, this goes back to when the golf carts were made, when the Villages was kind of started, nobody had exterior mirrors. The mirrors were all the little knobby things that were inside the cart. So the cart, and I just think
Or
the
those
carts seemed like
doors.
they were, nobody had doors.
Yeah.
Nobody had, so the golf carts have certainly changed since the Villages has started. And so when those were, built, when the bridges were built, the little road, very, very narrow. And it scares me. You're only supposed to be going, whatever, 10 miles an hour. Even that just scares me. Every time I go by, I go, and I hold my breath to make sure. So anyway, we are in our automobile driving south on Morse, right near that bridge. And all of a sudden, Leo's like, oh my gosh, do you see that? And then everybody on the road hit their brakes. So we all almost end up in a car crash because everybody's looking. And there is a car on that little golf cart bridge. And we're all, well, I'm sure everybody was thinking what we were thinking. That's what we were. First of all, how did she get out there? Second of all, where is she going to go? Because really, you would have to then go under that tunnel or go all the way out by the sheriff's department, kind of like four-wheel through the grass to get off of that path somehow. But in the meantime, you would have gone all the way down that
and
bridge.
you would have run into some carts that would have yelled at you.
I think the carts would have just had to back up. I have no idea. Anyway.
She had to have come off. But I looked at that the other day, and you could cut the corner and they have a post, and so cars won't go on there. But there is a way to do that. But if you see a post in the middle of a road, I would assume that you would.
I'm not supposed to be on there.
Supposed to be there.
Yeah, I don't know, but that truly
that
was
very
one of the most bizarre things we've seen. I was like, wow,
that's really bizarre. This isn't as bizarre, kind of bizarre, because it doesn't happen hardly at all. When you go to the squares, 2 carts will share a spot, so more people can, park there. And there's someone that has a new fancy cart that parks it sideways or kitty corner, whatever you call that, so no one can get in that spot. And I'm sorry, I feel like I have a nice cart too, but if everybody did that,
it'd reduce the parking quite a bit.
Yeah, so that was a little bizarre. That entitled, maybe, I don't know.
That is bizarre, because most people are pretty cooperative about helping other people park close also. So
yes, they are.
One of mine, so whether you are a Democrat, Republican, no matter what, but one of my most crazy things we've seen here is watching our president, a sitting president, land at the polo field. President Trump came, and so it was just the most bizarre time, because you could see for a couple days before, obviously they were doing practice runs and stuff. So there were helicopters, those, whatever they're called, the Blackhawks were coming in and all that stuff. And it was just amazing to watch. And then when he came, he did land at the polo field, and he did like a rally for, I don't know, maybe an hour or whatever. And then boom, he was out. But watching like all the security, the parade, like the amount, it's no matter what your, political affiliation,
the yays and the nays,
it's still, still a pretty, exciting, crazy thing to see a sitting president land in your neighborhood.
And all the security.
And his security, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, I mean, of course, then there were the pro-Trumpers, the anti-Trumpers that were all, around the area also making their voices heard.
Noise.
But that was less, I mean, that could be any day. But to watch the helicopters and stuff and know that was your president, and just to see the firepower and the strength that our country has, I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Servicemen and all that, or bodyguards, all that. Yeah. This is a little bizarre story. And this was it must have been in the spring. We were up at Spanish. It wasn't that Spanish Springs square, and it wasn't that crowded, but there's the pond that they have this Mr. Schwartz statue, and it's really pretty, and inside there was a mother duck and her little baby chicks. Well, she was trying to take her little baby chicks across the street into another little pond with a bridge that's a little more away from all the hubbub, and she could get one of them out, and then she would run it over there, and all the little ones are like beep, 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 and they'd try to get out, but the water level was so low that they couldn't hop out. And people were just going crazy because this mother would come flying back in, try to get another one out, and then take that across the street, and cars are going and carts are going. And finally one guy took off his shoes and got in the pond and kind of put them all in a corner, and there's a thing that goes under into this little stream so they could get out, so she could herd them across the street. But it was about a half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour of pure entertainment. And of course, baby ducks are so cute. But people were panicking, like there was going to be baby ducks in the road. And I haven't seen any baby ducks, but there's been some ducks that land there. It's pretty funny.
Sweet. That's sweet. Another one of mine is hurricanes. Up from the north, we don't have hurricanes. We have tornadoes, which is scary, but hurricanes. And actually, I will tell you, to be honest, I'd rather have hurricanes than tornadoes, only because you get so much warning and all of that. But it's just a very bizarre thing. You get a lot of warning, so there's a lot of prep. A lot of people are filling up every single vehicle they have, which they're always like, please share the gas with other people, because some people have, 2 golf carts and 2 automobiles and a lawnmower and a snowmobile. I mean, I don't know. They're loading up everything that has gas. Basically, people need it for their generators and their vehicle in case you have to exit. But they always say, where we are anyway, we shouldn't be exiting. So, so that really shouldn't be a big issue. But apparently, for some people, they just want to know that they have gas in every vehicle. But anyway, the hurricanes are a crazy force of nature. They do spawn tornadoes, but the tornadoes down here don't seem to be the same tornadoes we get in the Midwest.
No, they're not. They're weaker.
But they can still cause damage. In 2012 or something, I think some hit the villages, and so it was it did some damage to some poor people that they had just closed on their homes, and it hit, I think it was by Mallory, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so
the villages bought those houses, and they
fixed them up and they let them have something else. That was pretty nice.
Yeah.
So
that's when it was smaller.
But the hurricanes, definitely a crazy thing. Again, not just villages specific, but crazy thing.
And there's no basement.
No.
Because when a storm comes, I'm so used to going, hey, we're going to the basement.
Yeah.
But there's no basement.
You just go to your interior closet or something that has no windows, basically. But that's kind of crazy.
All right. This one is when we first bought our first house in 2006, we came down and worked on it quite a bit. And there was one night that we were laying carpet or floor or something, and we were hungry. It was, 8:15, 8:30 at night. We decided to go up to the square and get a piece of pizza, because you get pizza and a beer for a certain amount. And it was a little off the square, and the square's hopping, and people are dancing, the band's playing. We go into the pizza place, and we sit down, we have our piece of pizza and our beer, and we come out, and it's like 9:05, and there's not one person in the place. Not one. And Mark and I look around. We thought the rapture had happened. We've been left behind. Or it was like the cockroach, gone. We did finally see one guy hauling some of the music equipment to his car. And we laughed and laughed about it, because it was like hopping this minute, empty this minute. And that's before the bars were open later, because everybody just went home at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It was bizarre.
Another one of mine is Let's see, the gator walking across the course. So we were on, I was golfing with my cousins on Belg Lake. And all of a sudden, we're getting ready to tee off, and we look to the right, and there is a monster gator just walking across. So
big gator.
He was a big boy. And so we just kind of stepped back and said, you do you.
Yeah.
You'll be right away. And but you will see that more so, I think, during mating season.
Mhm.
They tend to move from pond to pond. It seems like they're much more active during mating season, which is in the spring.
Looking for love.
Yeah. And so anyway, but that was a very bizarre experience. Not a lot of times that you can say you stopped your golf and held up golf for everybody else because
Yeah,
there
because
was a
usually they're
gator
just
crossing.
laying by the, sunning
They lay by the
themselves.
ponds
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah,
and
where you see their nose
Yeah.
in the pond. But actually walking
right
it's
across
pretty-
the fairway.
there's a
tee
lot of
box.
weight on those tiny little legs.
Yep.
It is pretty cool.
We yielded.
Let's see. Oh, this is another one. We were walking down the path behind our house, and I'm kind of looking down on, on number 7, and there's a truck kind of on the course, and it was backing this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. And I'm like, well, that's weird. I mean, what are they doing? Usually you can, if there's any kind of truck or equipment, they're trimming trees or, doing something like that. And as I get down there, it's a guy that backs up to the course. He had driven his pickup truck on the cart path and backed up to unload his
Own
mulch,
landscaping and
his
stuff.
mulch. And I'm like, wow, how did he get on there? Because usually they have that stake there, but there was no stake there, and there's no sign saying golf traffic only. So
Interesting.
I mean, oh well, that to me that was very bizarre, but I guess it works for him.
I guess so.
Yeah, yeah.
So my last one is, and we do see this, unfortunately, a little more frequently than we should, but I'm going to put up a picture, but it's not going to be a very clear picture because we were coming home from Lopez, and all of a sudden I said, no, and there's a golf cart that wanted to be, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
So when you want to be on the other side, there is probably a tunnel. There definitely is a tunnel
there
to
is a
get you
tunnel.
there. You just have to find it. And apparently this person decided, I want to be over there. I don't care. So they got off on one of the roads that goes through the roundabout, and then not even going the proper way around, they went the wrong way around the roundabout in a golf cart. And it was dusky, so that's why the picture's not really good anyway. And it was a little blurry because I was kind of like, where's my camera? Where's my camera? But it's crazy. I just don't understand why people want to be pancaked. I mean, if a car happens to come around there,
You're not going to
You're
win
dead.
that battle.
no,
Yeah.
and I just don't understand. So anyway, be careful.
Yeah.
Don't go on the roundabouts in a golf cart. And if you do, which I wouldn't recommend, go the right way.
Right. And along with that, we also saw someone go the wrong way in a cart.
Mhm.
He kind of
Yeah, you said you
stopped.
guys
Yeah.
did.
And there's the road he wants to be. And I don't know whether he thought, I'll just take a quick this way. But as he went that way, I'm going the same thing. I'm going, oh my gosh, there's going to be a car come around and plow him. He made it. But I mean, I'm just like, no.
Well, one of my girlfriends was coming down to play tennis from Ocala, and so she was coming in off 42, and she said a guy came around the traffic circle the wrong way, and she said, so then she starts going like, am I going the wrong way? Like all of a sudden
You doubt yourself.
freeze for a second, and she's like, is it me? But the guy was just going, you have to go. Those traffic circles are one way, people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And they are confusing when you first
They are.
use them. My last one is about this woman that was driving a golf cart, and golf carts can go airborne. And she and her husband were, I think, racing from the square, and
Wait, was it you, Mark?
it might have been me.
I was just kidding.
And he went this way and she went the other way and forgot that a tree had been taken down, but the bricks were still, or the circle was still there, and hit those bricks. And I tell you what, that cart was
You
airborne.
launched.
And
I can't believe you did
so
that.
much airborne that it got over the other side of that circle. And yeah, Mark was a little mad at me. I've not done that since, but I do like to win, and I did. So I'm going to say about that. And that was very bizarre, and
That's hilarious.
I learned a lesson.
That's hilarious.
Lucky I didn't break the cart.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, so those are some of the crazy things that we've seen in the villages. We'll put in pictures of the stuff that we have seen if we've got pictures of it. I think we got pictures of most of it. So
Yeah, I'm not going to recreate the.
come on.
Yeah, no.
That was like the most exciting one.
Yeah, no.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks for, well, and if you guys see bizarre things, let us know. But anyway, thanks for always watching and enjoy your day.
Like and subscribe.
Just moseying along, don't mind me.
You don't see that every day. No kidding.
Holy crap.
Like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
Going up. Don't mind me.
yeah.
I'm gonna go find me some new girls.